Russian President Vladimir Putin made a very interesting point recently. He noticed that the first U.S. test of an intermediate range missile was so soon after the abolishment of the INF Treaty that it must have been in development beforehand. And, well, he's right. In fact, the recent testing, I believe only a day or so ago, of the intermediate range missile clearly was in development long before the U.S. withdrew from the treaty. Okay, it takes quite a while to design and then test a missile, but it seemed to have been done in only like a week, 2 weeks, something like that, something incredibly short. Now, I'm no engineer myself, but I'm pretty sure it takes longer than 2 weeks to design and then build a prototype of a missile, especially an intermediate range one. So I think that Putin is particularly correct in this situation, and that this was probably in development months before. Although, interestingly, when the U.S. first withdrew from the agreement, they specifically said that they did not know when the first missile test would take place, and they said, and I quote, "These things usually take longer than you expect them to." Well, actually, it kind of seems like it happened a lot faster than you would expect them to. This, of course, would negate the idea that it was very obviously planned from the beginning, long before the U.S. abandoned the deal. Now, this is like every other situation that has gone down, at least under the presidency of Donald Trump, that an accusation is made, and yet no evidence of this is given whatsoever. The U.S. claimed that Iran violated the JCPOA, also known as the nuclear deal, yet absolutely no evidence whatsoever was shown. Yet the European signatories to the agreement said that there was no violation. The International Atomic Energy Agency, whose job it is to monitor, said there were no violations, and yet the U.S. still pulled out under the pretext that Iran had violated it. How many times has the U.S. withdrawn from a trade deal under Trump under the claim that it was exploitative to the U.S.? The idea that a trade relationship is exploitative against the U.S. is really laughable, especially given that it's the richest country in the world, and many of these trade deals are done by gunpoint. At least against the third world countries, anyway. So, interesting. This seems to be the modus operandi of Trump thus far. He lacks the veneer of diplomacy that many of his predecessors had, particularly Obama. One of the things that made Obama a good president was that he was able to make it look like he was being diplomatic. He had the veneer of being a statesman. He knew how to, in fairness, he was a statesman. He knew how to navigate the contradictions among the capitalist class to get the overall benefits that they collectively want, despite the disagreements between them. Whereas Trump has taken a very different position. Just do whatever you want and damn the consequences. Well, these are certainly not the actions of a statesman. And these are certainly not even the actions of someone who even knows what they're doing. So I think it's pretty clear now, after all of this, that this was perhaps something the United States was looking at. They were looking at an excuse to withdraw from the JCPOA. They were looking for an excuse to withdraw from the Intermediate Range Missile Treaty. I think that this was all probably coming, but it was handled so badly by Donald Trump. I think that's the key thing to keep in mind here, that this was always coming. It's just that the incompetent way that Trump has done this is what's made it so obvious. So to recap, Putin is certainly onto something when he says the first intermediate range missile test was far too soon. I think he is correct, and that this withdrawal from the INF Treaty was something that had been planned for a while. Thank you for watching. If you like this program, then please head over to my Patreon page and set up a monthly donation. It's your donations that keep this program running.
Also, if you would like, please rate, comment, subscribe, and share in various social media.